found the where you can comment on a Google Hangout, or it has to be enabled or whatever. It's like I find it very annoying when you, especially when you're trying to do a live show. I don't like to just rely on the like Twitter for the commentary. It should be right in the Hangout, in my opinion.
Okay, Melissa, you should see it on the tweeters if this ever tweets.
On the tweeters? On the
There we
tweeters.
go.
Oh, you've got it.
We are out over the airwaves, as it were.
I just see the soon.
Got it.
Oh, there it goes.
Okay, share it with me.
And okay, are you posting it to the Facebooks?
No, you can post it to the Facebooks.
Okay, I can post it on the Facebooks. How do I post it to I think I can do this.
How's the frustrated mic looking? Frustrated? Shakes head. Oh no.
All right. Well, I'm on the camera again.
Yep.
Which I can do that because I can't get, for whatever reason, this microphone is not working on the Hangouts.
Huh. That's really annoying.
It is. All right. Let me try something else quick.
Okay. We're just live and pre-rolling. Rolling.
I'm gonna tweet to my followers, see if I got anybody that pays attention.
Don't forget Poland. Sorry.
Who's in charge of the Geek Life Twitter?
I've got it up.
Okay. Is I'm anal retentive, and so
Never
with
noticed.
that, I don't know if one of you can edit the @ with capitalization for the Geek Life.
What?
Well,
No.
yeah.
Okay. Do you
Oh,
hyphenate anal retentive?
capitalize. Yeah, I think. No, it's just easier to see than all like lower caps. What I'm saying the
Go
Geek Life-
home, you Pascal programmer.
Why
don't know
didn't
what-
my thing retweet? Hmm.
Let's see. I'm speaking. There's mine. There's Fess. There's the spamming of Fess. I'm not seeing you.
Oh, I did. Okay, it worked. All right, cool.
It
So,
works, she said.
we're-
Oh, no, there's
we're-
yours.
We're
Oh, I
up.
see.
Okay, sounds good.
For some reason it didn't show up there. Interesting. Whatever. We're up. We're going. Once Mike wants to go.
Okay, so we've got the Facebooks have the links.
Facebook's has the links. Okay. I guess I don't have to learn GarageBand by the sounds of it. Okay.
Does the mics have the sounds?
He's a sensitive mic.
Mm.
He's also not there at the moment.
No.
He's been taken out. Honestly, I don't care about the Atari cartridges, but that's just me.
I do.
Voldemort.
Ball to Hitler. I mean, seriously, I do care.
Sigh.
I bought
I'm
this for
saving a
$1.
can for you.
I bought this for $1. $1.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
Quiet, you.
Gripe.
All right.
Next
This is like
time-
17 shades of messed up right here.
The next time you want halal Chinese, I'm not ordering it
And
for
I
you.
still have no audio
I want.
going through here now.
I was gonna say I can hear you perfectly fine, Mike. Not pristinely, but I can hear you.
It's a dirty mic. So,
Hey, who here has watched Reboot?
Yes, I have.
Do you love it or love it?
I liked it a lot. I was never able to watch it consistently just due to not knowing when the next airtime was going to be. On the other hand, I appreciate that in one episode they did reference Last Starfighter.
I have the box set.
Ah,
I'd like to borrow it sometime.
should probably abuse the daughters with it.
Thank you, Shout Factory. Thank you so much. That's my peak for the day, Shout Factory, because they do awesome work.
All right, so I'm
Wow.
just gonna have to go with this or bow out. So
Okay.
That's fine. My
Alrighty
video
then.
looks fine.
You're-
This is like 10 frames a second for me.
Yeah, video doesn't matter at this. It's a podcast mostly.
I'm a visual guy.
I wonder if you can just replace the video with the logo and
Oh, Melissa?
be done with it. What?
Not it.
Not it!
not it.
That's it's up to you!
Yeah. And I don't really shy away from talking if you've noticed.
Yeah,
If you-
so
If you go up top, by the way, Fest, you can there's actually a thing for turn cameras off. You may have to turn audio back on because if you mute it, it might hit both. Nope, just turns the camera on.
oh, cool.
Do I want to turn the camera off?
I don't know.
I don't
Where's
care.
the thing that turns...
Melissa was saying, hey,
Oh, that thing there.
in case we could, just have the picture up there, just the logo or whatever, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, can't you just see me perfectly fine behind my microphone?
Yeah.
I can see a grainy approximation of you. It's like you're in the Blair Witch Project or
Question,
something.
are you two both doing wireless at your house?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm wireless.
In 5, 4, 3.
Hello, world, and welcome
Oh.
to the Geek World.
Did you just snipe me? Did you just snipe me?
You're taking too long.
It's
I was
just
counting
habit.
2 seconds.
Ah, thank
Welcome to the Geek Life. Yes, I just sniped Fest because of habit. Rich is not here, so I always end up doing that.
Ah,
Plus, it's fun.
ah. All right, then.
No, you have the floor now. Go.
I have the floor. I'm going.
Well, this is
the
going to
Geek
be
Life.
great.
Oh. April 28th. Today we're recording on April 29th, Tuesday. We have the crew with us. Unfortunately, Rich is out due to sleeping issues, but we have Mike,
Hello.
Melissa,
Hi.
and Grumpy Fest.
Mm.
And I'm going to apologize for my audio for whatever reason. I can't get my headset.
Never
I'll
apologize.
get that figured
We'll
out.
fix it in post.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be a trick.
Oh, yeah, we always fix everything in post, don't we?
Yeah, yep, sure do.
So I think we're going to have a bit of a talk on videos, as it were, since somebody went to Ebert Fest. So we'll
I
launch into
did.
that.
I just got
Melissa.
back from Ebert Fest, which is a film festival in Champaign, Illinois, was started 16 years ago by Mr. Roger Ebert himself. And I started going when he was still alive and still hosting the festival. And unfortunately, he is not still alive, and his ghost is running the festival. So, or rather, his widow actually is. But anyway, the festival is still going strong. It's still 12 movies that have come out. Most of them have come out recently, and they were movies that Ebert had considered to be overlooked or, not given the credit they deserve. And so, and the occasional new thing that was just interesting. So this year's lineup was, pretty much par for the course. Some really good stuff. It opened up with the documentary Life Itself, which is the brand new documentary made by Steve James, the man who made Hoop Dreams. Excellent documentarian. He started making a movie about Roger Ebert about, 2 or 3 months before the man passed away. So it's a movie about Ebert's life and about his attempt at recovery, and of course, as the camera's rolling, Mr. Ebert passed away. So it, pretty much
While
covers.
the cameras were rolling?
No, well, He passed away pretty soon after one of the shoots.
Oh.
So yeah, a lot of filming happened in the hospital with Roger. But it's a very good film. It aired at Sundance and did very well at Sundance. And you know, of course, when it screened at Ebert Fest, everybody was really verklempt because that's like family. That's like the Ebert family in that theater. And so that was pretty much the best audience you could possibly see that particular movie in. After that, we got a movie called Museum Hours, which I didn't care about a whole lot. It was really slow, like slower than even I can put up with, which is unfortunate. So I'll just pass over that. After that, we saw a movie called Short Term 12, which has recently gotten out of theaters and I think going into video-on-demand channels, so it's fairly easy to get your hands on right now. Short Term 12 is an excellent film. It's about line workers in not quite a foster home, but it's a group home for teenage kids, and you know, just kind of a drama in that setting, and it's exceptionally well done, and I highly recommend it. So put that one on your to-see list. It's very good. We also saw Young Adult, which came out a couple of years ago, starring Charlize Theron and Patton Oswalt. And Patton Oswalt was there to talk about the movie, which was a lot of fun. And Patton Oswalt, when not guided by strong questions, will go on tangents like you wouldn't believe, and it was hilarious, and I really enjoyed that. The movie was also very good too. It's written by Diablo Cody, directed by Jason Reitman, and it's a very interesting film in that you'll want to murder the main character with a claw hammer, but it's still a very good character, so you still continue to watch. It's quite a good movie, and also set in Minnesota. So you get to see the Greenbelt sign and everything. Yay!
Nice.
Let's see. The following day, we started out with a Lon Chaney Sr. film, silent film called He Who Gets Slapped. It's pretty much the first major role that Lon Chaney had before he went on to do things like Phantom of the Opera and London After Midnight and all of his great famous silent horror roles. He Who Gets Slapped is the story of a scientist whose work is stolen, and the baron who steals his work steals his wife as well, so the scientist goes crazy and becomes a clown in the circus, clown with a vengeance.
Like you do.
Like you do. And, you know, hijinks ensue with scary clowns. It's pretty great. But the best thing about that is it continued a yearly tradition, which is probably my favorite thing about Ebertfest, hands down, which is the Alloy Orchestra comes in and does live music for a silent film. So this was the silent film they came in and did the music for.
Oh, cool.
It was awesome. And it was a great print, too. It was really, really good. After that, we saw Capote, which came out a few years ago. You know, Philip Seymour Hoffman playing Truman Capote as he was writing In Cold Blood. And so this was kind of the rest in peace Philip Seymour Hoffman slot. They had Bennett Miller, the director and producer of Capote, there to talk about making the movie, and that was cool. And oh, by the way, there was a Q&A after every single movie this year with somebody who was involved in the film somehow, and all of those Q's and A's are online, and you can watch them. Like, you can go watch them right now. So if
not right now.
Well, yeah. Well, you could. You could. I don't recommend it. You know, you can continue listening to me first, then go watch them. But yeah, so if you want to hear Bennett Miller talk about the making of Capote, you can certainly go do that. So, yeah, Capote scene on the big screen is also great. So that was very nice. And after that, we saw Do the Right Thing, 1989, Spike Lee. Spike Lee was there,
cool,
which was fascinating. And Do the Right Thing, I think it's Paramount. I think it's a Paramount picture. But the studio sent a perfect 35mm print with it. So it was just watching it pristine off of film on a giant screen, and that was just wonderful. It's a great movie, and I think every time I see it, I understand more about the film, and it's one of the truly great films in film history. I also had the unfortunate experience of seeing a middle-aged white man try to tell Spike Lee that everybody should get over this slavery thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the best description of what happened after that was that the audience growled. I don't think I've ever heard a sound like that. Like 1,500 people all kind of go. It was quite a thing. It was going to be the last question of the evening, and after that happened, the people running the Q&A go, "Let's ask another one. Let's not leave it on that one." So, yeah, racism is still alive and well.
Oh, I hadn't noticed.
But it's still a great movie about racism. Yeah, go see it. The following day, the Saturday opened with a movie called Wadjda, Wadjda, which I think is, well, it's hard to say it was the favoriteest thing about the festival, but it's one of my very favorite things about this year's festival. It's the first feature-length movie made entirely in Saudi Arabia. It's also the first Saudi Arabian film to be made by a woman. The director, who is a woman, Haifa Al-Mansour, since it's illegal in Saudi Arabia for a woman to be a manager of a man, she had to direct the entire film from inside of a van through a system of cameras and microphones, and she had to use a German film crew. And the movie is about this 10-year-old, 11-year-old-ish girl who is kind of a rebel, and she wants to ride a bike. And women in Saudi Arabia were not allowed to ride bikes. So it's about her trying to deal with her place in the world in Saudi Arabia and also trying to get a bike. And it's a fascinating movie in that it sounds like a really deep and dramatic, serious movie, but it's not. It's kind of this carefree, kind of wonderful movie about finding freedom and you know, being a leader and, you know, overcoming such things. And it's fantastic. It's a fantastic movie. So I think it's on Netflix right now. I don't think it's on streaming, but you can get the DVD, and it's on various video. And it is highly recommended.
Note to self, do not load Tumblr while recording Geek Life. Sorry.
Yeah, don't do that.
I was wondering what happened.
Oh, dear.
What was Fess doing while I was talking?
Playing Warcraft.
Trying to get stuff. References for showing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. After that, we saw a movie called. After that, we saw a movie called A Simple Life, also directed by a woman, An Hui, who is one of the very few female directors working in Hong Kong, and she has been working in Hong Kong for decades. It's a very interesting film. It is very sweet and charming. It's about a housekeeper who has been the housekeeper for this one family for 60 years. And so she's been kind of handed from generation to generation in this family, and in her 70s she's working for one of the sons of the family, and it's just the two of them in this apartment, and she has a stroke And so he becomes her caretaker because she has no family. And it's just this very sweet film about people being nice to one another. And it's a wonderful movie. I don't know what else to say about it. There's kind of an interesting insight into the elder care system of Hong Kong, so you get to see what rest homes look like in Asia and all that stuff. And but it's just this very sweet movie. And also Sammo Hung has a cameo. The son character works in the movie industry, so every once in a while, he goes to a premiere and like famous people pop up. Kind of humorous.
Because why not?
Because why not? Because why not? And then after that, we saw Goodbye Solo, which is a movie by Ramin Barani, who did Man Push Cart and Chop Shop. And I wasn't quite as enamored with this one, but maybe I was burnt out on the serious, really good movies, and just a little bit because I've been watching them all day for like 4 days. And so Goodbye Solo is a movie about a taxi driver in Winston-Salem. He's from Senegal, and like the very openings, it may be the most compressed opening narrative I've ever seen. It's cab driver and the guy in the back who is this old white dude, and the two of them talking, and it turns out the white dude has just given the cab driver a deal to give him $1,000 to drop him off at this high cliff / mountain and not come back. And the cab driver goes, "Are you going to jump? Tell me you're not going to jump." And that's the premise. So it's about this cab driver trying to convince this old white guy to not jump off a cliff. And it's interesting and very good. And the guy who plays the cab driver is a fantastic actor. Actually, they're both fantastic actors. But very good film, very serious film. And then after that, Oliver Stone appeared with a print of Born on the 4th of July, but I didn't sit through that. I went drinking instead.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, this might be my last year at Ebertfest. And it's not the fault of Ebertfest or anything. It's my friend Tom, who I usually have free room and board with in town, is moving to Chicago. So I won't have free room and board anymore at Ebertfest, and I don't know. It seemed more appropriate to go out and have a colossal booze up with Tom as the final last night celebration, rather than watching Oliver Stone talk about Born on the 4th of July, which also would have been absolutely fascinating, and I hear it was great. But instead, I was sitting in a dive bar in Champaign, Illinois, drinking gin and squirts and a pitcher of Hamm's beer. And that is what I did. The festival closed on Sunday with a movie called Bayou Maharaja, which opened this year at South by Southwest and did very well. It's a movie about James Booker, the jazz pianist from the 70s, who hailed from New Orleans and lived a brief but brilliant life. It's a very good documentary, and I think they're still trying to figure out how to release it, because the filmmaker Lily Kaber, another female director, which is awesome, she put in the music first and then tried to go after the rights.
Ooh.
Ask forgiveness later does not quite work in this situation.
Does not quite work in the world of music rights. So they're trying to figure out what to do with it. They might wind up just releasing it for free. But it's a very good film, and it's a very interesting film, and the music is amazing. Because James Booker was amazing. And also a very bizarre guy, so it's an interesting movie. And the especially fun part was at the Q&A, they had Lily Kaber there, the director, but they also had Henry Butler, who is another New Orleans jazz pianist who knew James Booker.
Pianist.
He knew James Booker when he was alive, and from the sounds of it, didn't like him too much. But he had some insight with what it was like playing in New Orleans at the time, and the whole thing ended with Henry Butler and a piano playing a lot of music. And then I went to Steak and Shake, and I had a shake. And I went,
No steak?
A steak shake?
no, I just had a shake. And I had chili cheese fries.
Ooh.
So
I
that's
have a tangent. I recall an episode of Ren and Stimpy where Ren and Stimpy are like, they have like an adopted man baby. Like,
okay.
it's like it looks like an ex-convict that's like in a diaper or whatever. They're taking him out on a picnic and they ask him what he wants to eat. Meat, and he wants meat. And then Ren is like, well, all right, what do you want to drink? Meat. And so there's like a meat liquid dispenser, so meat shake. See, that's where the tangent came in. I don't know if this helps.
No. No.
I'm just explaining my thought process is really what's going on.
So, I could talk some more because I also have this week's movies, or we can go into comics and let Fest talk for a while and then come back to the DVDs.
No, I can wait. I can wait.
Okay, so I'm-
waiting.
You know what? If you want a break, Melissa, I got a really good deal at Menards the other day.
Okay,
No.
I want to hear this.
For $8,
For $8
Okay.
I got
at Menards.
100 greatest sci-fi classics.
For $8. $8, 100 sci-fi movies.
Greatest sci-fi classics.
Classics. Now, is this determined by Menards?
Is Galaxina on there?
Hold on. Yes.
No shit, really?
Galaxina's on there. Abraxas, Guardian of the Universe.
Oh my god! Is Hearts of Atlantis on there?
Let me check.
Oh, please let Hearts of Atlantis be
You
on
need to go back and get another one. We'll pay you
No.
back.
I know I'm going tomorrow.
No.
So,
There's
this
one
is
called
I think
Kings of
Menards
Steel.
employees.
I think I need to spend $8.
It's Alive.
Now that's a gem of a movie.
Laser Mission with Brandon Lee.
Whoa! How
Um,
late is Menards open?
Not this late, but there's one in spitting distance of us. So.
Hercules Unchained. Actually, there's like 4 different Hercules movies on
It's
here.
Steve Reeves, isn't it?
Yeah. Where was the one? The Bat with Vincent Price.
I have at least 8 copies of The Bat.
Bride of the Gorilla with Raymond Burr.
No, that's not Ned Wood.
Raymond Burr.
Raymond Burr.
Yeah. It's just
Harry Mason.
yeah, there's some of these where it's kind of like, okay, how did they get the rights for these, or are these all pretty much public domain?
They are all public domain. I can
Okay.
almost guarantee.
They're probably scraped from a VHS copy or something like that. It's likely
Yeah,
not.
it wouldn't
yeah.
surprise me.
Oh, they're
It's
going to
like
be
Menards
atrocious, but
employees
for
have decided this.
$8.
Yes. So yeah, I just kind of saw that. I'm like, oh, I have to.
Yeah.
I grabbed them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my score recently.
I am so excited about that. I need to get to Menards. Which one did you go to? Were there more?
I saw that one. There might have been another one. It's the one off of 61. 61 and
Okay.
36.
Okay.
What
All right.
section was it in?
It was it was on a rack, like a rolling rack type of thing,
Okay.
over by the lights.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it in plumbing?
Yeah, no, it was in the light. It was over by the light section.
Okay.
But they
Yeah.
have like the thing with like the software on it, like the cheap software and the cheap
Okay.
DVDs and stuff, and it was kind of there.
we
I'm like,
can't-
oh, I need that.
You know, if we can't find it, Melissa's gonna come and mug you.
I bet I own like 75% of those movies already because of all the 50 DVD sets I bought with crappy movies.
Well, see, this is the thing.
But the
If you
thing
have
is, if Galaxina's on there, it means that there's fresh territory to be
Yeah,
had
well-
for $8.
Yeah, but I mean, basically it came with 2 of the 50 disc sets. So the first one was the
Oh
Sci-Fi
yeah.
Invasion.
Okay, yeah. So Sci-Fi Invasion
and then the other one was Sci-Fi Classics.
Sci-Fi Classic. Hey, Gamera!
Yeah.
Gamera! Gamera is really neat. Gamera is filled with turtle meat.
Yeah,
We are
Gamera the Invincible
Gamera.
is the one that's on. Yeah, but yeah, so it even has. Hold on. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. It's actually on this
Of
one
course.
Of course. But wait, there's more.
too. I know. So,
Santa Claus Conquers the Martians isn't even. Oh, man. So terrible. And yet it has a very young Pia Zadora in it.
Yep.
Yep. So, videos?
Sure.
All right. So, not a whole lot has come out this week or last week. Couple of new things. Yeah, the new things we have this week are Escape from Tomorrow and Big Bad Wolves. Escape from Tomorrow being the movie that was made without permission of Disney and filmed entirely in Disney theme parks, which is an uneven movie at best, but you got to admire the sheer unadulterated gumption, and it's like David Lynch unfettered. The thing is just bizarre. It's worth a look. It's totally worth a look. It is a weird frickin' film. Big Bad Wolves is a horror crime kind of Tarantino-esque violence film from Israel. And it's a very interesting film. Quentin Tarantino took quite a shine to it, and he's been pimping it quite a bit over the last several months. But it's a very interesting film. It's about there's a man accused as a pedophile. I'm trying to remember. I saw this at Fantastic Fest last year, but it's a man who was accused as a pedophile, and a couple other guys from his neighborhood basically kidnap him and torture him to get him to confess. So it's a who's the monster in this story sort of question. But if you look beyond the sheer plot of it, it's basically the story of the Israelis versus the Palestinians. So it's a big allegory. It's a very interesting movie. Definitely worth watching. Catalog titles. We got some really cool stuff in catalog titles this week. Sorcerer is coming out on Blu-ray, and that makes me so freaking happy.
It's a great movie.
It is so great. So great. Long time coming. So beautiful Blu-ray copy of Sorcerer, and that's making a lot of people happy. Also, The Wind and the Lion with Sean Connery on Blu-ray this week. A whole slew of Gamera movies are being released on Blu-ray this week in big collections. So if you like your crap in high definition, go for it. Sophie's Choice on Blu-ray. Get Carter with Michael Caine on Blu-ray. Get Carter with Stallone on Blu-ray. Rod Steiger in The Pawnbroker on Blu-ray. And, of course, the complete collection of Francis the Talking Mule movies. Criterion's been digging deep into the vaults. It's actually released 3 movies over the last 2 weeks, none of which I'm familiar with, so I can't really tell you much about them. But from Criterion, we've got Il Sorpasso, Riot in Cell Block 11, and Master of the House. Ta-da!
Cool.
And I just noticed in TV, Hill Street Blues has been released en masse in a giant box set. So if you need to watch Hill Street Blues again, all of it. You can watch all of it. And also, with the impending release of the American Godzilla movie, the complete animated series of Godzilla is now available for purchase.
And Godzuki.
Godzuki.
Oh, speaking of which, Melissa, that video I retweeted to you.
Yes, Elders Watch Godzilla trailer. Yes.
Yeah, Elders React.
Elders react to the Godzilla trailer, which is fun. We should put that in the show notes because it's fun. They have a bunch of retirement age people. They put them in front of the Godzilla teaser trailer, and it's just watching their faces as they watch it. And there's confusion and confusion and confusion, and then Godzilla appears. They go, Godzilla! It's so awesome.
Yeah, maybe I should, in case some of the listeners and hosts don't know, Elders React is a spin-off of Teens React, which is a spin-off of Kids React.
Yep.
And it's all done by the same YouTube channel. It's really, really interesting. You can get really sucked into some of the videos, but they usually show a piece or a portion of something versus like the whole thing. Of course, to these people, because it's a free YouTube show. But oh yeah, some of the there's another one that's like Elders React to Selfies. Okay.
So anyway,
I had seen one where it was Elders React to I believe it was Gangnam Style.
Oh boy.
And that one was fun to see them do
it. So anyway, title of the week. It's been kind of a dry spell recently for title of the week. Nothing really good. I came across the Mormon Wars, which, has its possibilities as title of the week, especially the sub-segment called War on Polygamy, which sounded fascinating, but I'm sure is not as fascinating as I'd like it to be. And then, as I was in the middle of my desperation and bemoaning the state of title of the week, I came across Nosferatu versus Father Pipecock and Sister Funk.
What the fuck? What? What? Did you say Pipecock?
I said Pipecock.
And Sister Funk.
Nosferatu versus Father Pipecock and Sister Funk. Now, it gets better. It gets better.
Please tell me this is on Netflix.
I don't think it is, but it is on Amazon. So, no. Hear me out. It gets better. It gets better. Okay, I looked at the cast list. It said, with Max Schreck, which I went, huh, because he was the guy who played Nosferatu in the silent film, and I went, huh, that... I don't think he was in a sequel with Father Pipecock. So the next name in the cast list was Trenchmouth Colitis. So we've got Nosferatu versus Father Pipecock and Sister Funk, starring Max Schreck and Trenchmouth Colitis. And so I read about this movie, and apparently what this is they took the silent film Nosferatu, which is in the public domain, and they redubbed it and spliced it together with porn. So I don't know.
I kind of want to see how they.
It's the porn equivalent of cut-ups.
I don't know.
I think it's mostly Nosferatu and with shots with a lot of the staring scenes, and then Father Pipecock and Sister Fuck or whatever.
Funk.
Funk.
Yeah, sure it is.
F-U-N-K. Directed by Tony Watt. Oh, there's a Facebook page.
Of course.
I already drunk my rum and Coke.
You need more. Oh, okay. Here's the okay, so I've got the Amazon page opened up. From TWI Studios, the fun-friendly makers of Frankenpimp, Vixen Highway 2006. It came from
just
Uranus.
Cost us a viewer.
And
You're up to 3 viewers. We're down to 2 now.
And Acid Head, the Buzzard Nuts County Slaughter. Comes this regurgitation and redubbing of a classic silent horror flick, shot in mind-shattering 2D and 36 double D, featuring TNA and epic voiceover boom. Count Orlok, a deviant, adulterous, shape-shifting Transylvanian vampire aristocrat and super creep, who is tearing Raymond a new cornhole. And it's up to a brother in a collar and a Creole nun with a flaming gun to stop him in this creature feature fang fest.
Yeah.
Starring Canadian scream queen Vivita in new footage shot in tantalizing Watarama.
Did you say Canadian Scream Queen?
Yes.
Did she say sorry before she screams? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm
Scream, eh?
Since we're on the subject of religious tones in porn, I'm
We
wondering,
are?
is there a Moses and the Burning Bush porn?
Oh,
I'm sure
Paul,
there
let's
is
see.
somewhere. Oh God, I gotta tell you guys this.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so I was at Ebert Fest. I'm walking to the theater, and it's a beautiful, lovely morning in Champaign, Illinois. Beautiful spring day. It's lovely. The sun's shining. You know, the birds are out, and I stop at a street corner to cross the street. And the cars are going past, and a few other people are also walking to the film festival and also stop near me. So it's like me and 5 guys, and we're all like looking at our phones as we do because we're all of that generation. So we're waiting for the light to change. And we turn around, and there's this bush. There's a shrub behind us, and it's, flanked on 2 sides by this sidewalk that we're on, and then there's a little fence, and then there's a parking lot along beyond it. So there's this shrub just surrounded by asphalt and concrete, right? And so we're on our phones, and we're dicking with our phones, and somebody glances at the shrub, and the shrub is on fire.
Did it tell you to take the people out of slavery?
No, but I imagine in its own tongue it said, "Get a fucking glass of water and put me out."
A little help here?
But yeah.
Okay, so let me guess what happened
No,
next.
I'm not done.
Okay.
I mean, we're just standing there with our phones, staring at this
Bush.
burning shrub. And one of us goes, "Do we put it out?" This does not seem like a 911 situation. Do we call the police? Do we let it just burn? Because it's not going anywhere. It's not threatening a building or a car or anything. It's just on fire. And
Surrounded by concrete.
And we're just staring at it with our phones. So I'm sure it looks like we're trying to take photos of it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking you guys were all doing. It's like, oh.
No, I totally would have taken a photo, but my camera's broken on my phone. So one of the guys, decided to try and call somebody, and so I went, all right, and I continued on across the street and bought a beer.
You didn't pour it over the bush.
No, it seemed like it would have burned up by the time I got a beer.
Yeah, I can see you walking into a bar. I just saw, ordering the beer. Bartender brings you the beer. I just saw a bush surrounded by concrete in the street burning, and then he takes the beer back. I think you've already had enough.
Zing. So yeah, that happened at Ebert Fest. I never heard any sirens or anything. I.
Yeah, they knew that,
boy.
Bush. It was a matter of time.
Take my people to Fantastic Fest.
I wonder if Bush just, in despair, decided to practice self-immolation or something. It was just poof, and it was on fire.
Go to Sundance and tell David Lynch to let my people go.
Go forth and watch movies. Go watch Tree of Life. So that's that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, webcomics.
Webcomics.
Yeah. Anyone listening from my regular show will know that catchphrase. But yes, this is where we're seeing if we can fold in the comic news into the Geek Life instead of me doing it on my other podcast. And we'll see if everybody likes it over here. But I do have a few things that I picked out for this week. And the first one is probably the biggest piece of news, which is that Amazon has bought Comixology.
Ooh.
And for if this I don't know if this audience is familiar with Comixology, but it's an app in which you can buy digital print comics for the exact same price as print comics, though you don't technically own them in their DRM, and they can be revoked at any point. So you can tell I can have some opinions on this already. But apparently because Amazon doesn't like to pay anybody anything. Taxes, that are due, or 30% of purchases to Apple, which I probably would do that too, personally. I already have my opinions of how much of that is a ripoff of any sort of phone company being like, yeah, we're gonna take 30% of this in-app purchase, which has nothing to do with our servers because it's on your server, and no, it's an unjust fee, I would argue. But Amazon, like they do, just said, we're not gonna let you do in-app purchases. We're gonna redirect you to the website in which you can make a purchase on the website, and then add the comic. Jesus Christ! Well, I was gonna do that later, but now you.
Neener.
Yeah. So this is
Oh.
sort of a big deal, of course, and now I kind of lost where I was going with that, but it's sort of a big deal, and there was a big point in which there wasn't a week that went by that Comixology wasn't in comic news for some reason, and now that Amazon has a hold of it, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I heard about this too. My only take is I'm kind of neutral on it because this is just Amazon, as you mentioned. This is how they squeeze another dime out for them, but at least they're being consistent. I mean, that's what they do with their other apps. The Amazon movie streaming app, you cannot purchase within the app. You have to go to the website, which is annoying. Kindle the same way. I expect any Amazon app that if it gets outside the Amazon ecosystem, they'll do this.
I'm totally fine with that, to be honest.
And they're screwing Google. I mean, they're consistent. They're screwing Google Play Store too, because they've made sure that their in-app purchase there doesn't touch Google Play, so Google doesn't get its cut. So I mean, they're being consistent about cutting everybody out.
And that's sort of like the thing. It's in the comics industry, if you're trying to sell your own comic, you really want to sell the comic, your PDF, from your own website,
right?
Because you're going to get the most profit margin out of that versus somebody else, where basically it's the privilege of being posted there that they're going to take a cut.
Right.
Apple or Google, and I don't know why Google said, yeah, okay, well, now we're going to take 30%. This is like a couple years ago. Yeah, now we're going to take 30% of in-app purchases, which was, I thought, their selling point, that they weren't doing the same thing that Apple was doing by just taking 30% off for apparently no reason.
Yep.
Because it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't touch their services. It's the app, your phone, and that company's server.
But
that's holding all the information.
It's still their branded store in a way, is what they want.
30%. 30%.
If people will pay it.
Well, yeah, but that's the complacency that we're in right now.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just that's the model, unfortunately. But Google Play works I gotta look it up. Google Play works a little bit differently because you can still purchase from within the app, but they're doing it so it gets out of the contract. But it's because there's a loophole in how Google Play works differently than iOS. But yeah, it's exorbitantly high fee. But on the other hand, that's sadly the market. I mean,
Yeah,
that's how it happens.
And just Comixology already. I mean, Comixology also takes a large percent. Apple takes a large percent, or whoever, And then it's like, well, it's that much not going to the creators, which you think digital would mean that more would go to the creators, and it's not true. And look, a $4 comic in the store print that I can buy and keep forever. Look, a $4 digital version, which is DRM, and I don't keep it technically. It can be revoked at any point. So you're renting a comic for the same price. So right. I wouldn't mind renting comics from apps like this if they're like $1 or something like that. Or if it was like a limited thing, it's like rent this comic for $1, you have it for 2 weeks, and it dissipates from your account, and it's like, if I want to read it again, I have to rent it again or whatever. It's but until people actually stop paying for this crap, what's incentive is there?
Yep.
Wow, I get really emotional.
Want to your institutions of higher learning. Sorry.
Yeah. Another thing I just sort of... Does anybody else have any thoughts on that yet, or... Gonna rage subside and move on.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Did you get more alcohol, Fez?
No, because I'm really buzzing on the alcohol right now, and I don't think it'd be a good idea.
Okay.
To kind of drink that fast. So the next piece that I put together is the We Are Comics movement. Much like the fake geek girl mentality, women are still pointedly attacked in comics. So one of the latest movements is a We Are Comics sort of thing, which is supposed to be showcasing diversity of creators and readers. So it's a lot of the, you've seen the memes where people are holding up like a piece of paper or something like that and making a statement on it, and then it's like a meme and it's shared around. Well, this is the I Am Comics or We Are Comics, and showing that we are diverse and we like comics or we create comics. And there's I included a bunch of links which I'll include in the show notes, and part of it was also in response to this sort of anti-fangirl T-shirt that is like, it says like, I like my fangirls like I like my coffee. I hate coffee with hate incredibly underlined. It's like, wow, how to like really like pander to half of the market, not even half of the market, but in what is it when you not pander, but it's like
alienate half the market.
Alienate half the market, and so there's a lot of people going through this, and a few creators that I know are doing this, and apparently there's a comic, a T-shirt.
A T-shirt.
I think they locked up.
They both locked up. Oh, that's just such a bad way of putting it. They've locked up together.
Like I follow creators all the time, and
hey, you're back.
I don't bother following the jerks of the industry, but I just see a whole lot of support in the whole exposure. And this piggybacks off of a couple of things I saw. I have a friend named Megan Rose Gedris, who is this comic creator. She's working on a bunch of different, very popular web comics. Also has done some pornographic comics for Filthy Figments, which is a ladies making comics, porn comics website. And also she is in a traveling burlesque show, of which she will be here this coming Sunday. At the Bryant Lake Bowl, so hopefully I'll go get to see her again, because I haven't seen her for a couple of years. But she had somebody on Tumblr reply to one of her rants about, women in comics, or the content in comics being very alienating to women, and somebody replied to her, one of these Facebook headline reading mother effers, and just accusing her, well, if you don't like it, maybe you should just get off your lazy butt and make some comics and stuff. And this is a lady that's been making comics for like more than 5 years, several of her own original properties. It's like, dude, and that's not the only thing. It's like, yeah, like, okay, she's a web cartoonist that might not have gotten the rounds by everybody, but I also had seen some retweets from Gail Simone on Twitter of somebody accusing her of, well, why don't you write your own comics or some crap. It's like, you are such a poser, you assholes. You don't know who Gail Simone is. I'm just picking angry stories this way, I guess.
I think Fess has found the passion.
This is why we introduce him as Grumpy Fess.
Oh, I'm really jovial.
Oh no, actually, I agree. And your general point, I agree with, especially on the comics. And I know, as a father of daughters, I'm somewhat sensitive to this topic for some reason. Yeah, well, watching them get into geek culture bit by bit, I actually start, and knowing what female friends have gone through, it's like, how do I help them navigate this? So it's kind of, that's my perspective on it. And how do I, as their father, constantly apologize for my sex or being total idiots in this area? Honey, just slap them. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. But yeah, so I do find it interesting, and yeah, the T-shirt thing was horrible, and on the comics, I'm basically in the choir on that one. So.
Well, the worst thing about the T-shirt was that the people who made the shirt doubled down on it too.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, and they tried to explain it also. I caught it on the Twitter brouhaha. They briefly try to explain it as well. Fangirl's a generic negative term about fans. It doesn't really refer to girls. Anybody could be a fangirl.
Yeah, fuck that.
It's like,
that's why they made a comment that a T-shirt that said, "I like my fanboys like I like my coffee. I hate coffee." Because when you equally disparage groups of people, it's not racist or not sexist.
Right. It's all okay then, because we're being fair, like Fox.
fair and balanced.
Of course, if you want Fox to look fair and balanced, going way off on tangent because this came up another thing, watch Russian news, which I get here in Minneapolis off cable. RT makes Fox look like the BBC news readers.
Wow.
Especially with the Ukraine stuff going down. Oh yeah, if you want a unique perspective. Anyhow, enough of that.
That still doesn't make Fox News right.
No, it doesn't. It just is silly.
Remember? Does anybody remember slander, libel, false advertising?
Yeah, I also remember Reagan.
Those are like legal things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with political campaigning, I don't see how those things don't come up into play and politicians are sued for especially false advertising.
To be briefly anal slander, I think you have to show monetary loss. It isn't just... reputation loss might be in there too, but that's still a tough one to prove in court.
Defamation of character.
Yeah. And we're talking politicians, so how do you prove you defame the character?
Hey! I was on man. I gotcha. Let's move on to some happier news. How about that?
Sure.
I like
this planet.
I like this news.
New Mexico landfill filled with Atari ET games.
I'm sorry, I scrolled to the wrong part.
Confirmed.
My bad. There we go. Now I'm at the right header.
They found the landfill.
Yes. That they knew was there.
Yeah, but well, the thing is, the landfill was urban legend. Well, it was one of those things where it's something that supposedly happened, but nobody had actual firm evidence that that's what actually happened with all those ET games.
The landfill was there. We didn't know if the games were in it.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
And buried under a slab of concrete.
Yeah, the landfill outright denied this because they didn't want people coming around to the landfill and digging stuff up and trespassing.
Well,
and all
it's
that.
yucky and ew, and the landfill.
I know it's a terrible game, and
Yeah, it's one of the most legendary, terrible terrible games ever made.
It is the
It's
poster
atrocious.
child. It's
And
the
I'm
poster
holding
child.
one in my hand. It is right here, and I bought it for $1 on eBay.
Which was too much.
I've gotten at least $1 of enjoyment out of this just
How
by
much was
holding it in
shipping?
my hand. I don't
$500.
know. Well, it wasn't that much.
No, the Atari ET game is the poster child for the crash of the North American video game market. And it didn't recover until Nintendo came in back in 1985-86 with the
And also-
Nintendo Entertainment System.
The poster child for rushing a game out for a movie without adequate development.
3 days!
Yeah.
3 days!
Let's skin this other game. Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. And so part of what it was basically the subject of the story by for two films. Let's see here from the Guardian here. Fuel Entertainment and Xbox Entertainment Studios for a documentary directed by Zach Penn, actually. Will air as a series of documentaries and other original programs developed for Microsoft Xbox Games console users. And also, for those who know, the Angry Video Game Nerd, apparently it also has a centerpiece in that for the movie that he's making. And for those who don't know who the Angry Video Game Nerd is, he used to be called the Angry Nintendo Nerd, which he basically reviewed all like these old school video games, and he likes to put his own production into it. Not safe for work whatsoever. Lots of foul language, but then again, it is absolutely fantastic watching a lot of the Angry Video Game Nerd videos where he's reviewing these appalling video games which you've never even heard of, and you can't imagine that this crap exists whatsoever. So it's pretty interesting that I see that he's going to be doing some of that stuff as well, because he's actually gotten some people have been. A lot of his followers have been investing money into the movie that he's producing. So he's taking it from YouTube and game trailers and making his own video for it. So it's pretty sweet.
Cool.
That's kind of how much I've got here, and so I was glad I saved that for last. It's a nice positive note. And I know one of you don't particularly care about this story.
I a smiley face in there.
Oh, that means you're joking. No, it's a winky face means you're joking.
No, I don't get nuanced with my smiley faces.
I would like to actually. I wish there was a rolling eyes smiley face because I would use it so much.
I think there was, but I'll have to go look at Wendy's T-shirt. Actually, I don't think we have a copy. Riley did a whole book on smileys.
Oh.
Yes, I forgot about the world.
I shall let the veterans of the geek life take it from here. I think I've said enough.
Meanwhile,
We'll see.
somebody found a planet.
Yeah.
Again.
Yes, Kepler 186f is Earth-sized planet. I think it's technically slightly larger than Earth. And the big news is it's the first one we found that is definitely within what's considered the, well, habitable zone is probably overstatement, but that's the term used. But essentially in a zone from its sun where it can actually have liquid water. So it could or could not have life. We have no clue. Due to how close it is to the star it orbits, we can't get any readings off it from a spectrographic point of view. We just know about where its orbit is. We're placed in the right place for liquid water, but this is the first one we found of this type, so it's kind of neat.
Wouldn't liquid water depend on the atmosphere as well, not necessarily just the distance from the sun?
Well, this is where they're saying, well, this is the first one we know where it's actually at that zone where if there was water, it would be liquid. But the problem is they can't measure to see if there is water because it's too close to the sun that they can't get any spectrographic readings off it. But it's basically, once again, just the, ooh, we're closer, soon. So, something. So that was the exciting news for that. It's the first one that they can definitely say its orbit is there, and okay, this does happen. It's not just us. We're not all that unique. Woohoo.
Ah, the cosmos.
Yes. The next story was to annoy Richard. Mr. Curmudgeon about 4K TV, 8K TV from Hitachi is coming soon
Good God.
to an operating theater near you. And yeah, the other link from Gizmodo is the same people. It's the same one. So what Hitachi has done is they've developed an 8K endoscope. Is that a polyp? Anyhow, no, an endoscope is anything that goes inside your body. It isn't just one specific area. So in this case, they did a test on a pig, as the Gizmodo thing mentions. They removed the gallbladder. They basically did endoscopic surgery on a pig to test it out. And so there's this like giant screen, and the surgeons are looking up, moving their instruments as they get this beautiful 8K image to the point that they can see nerves. Is how much detail this thing shows. It shows more detail than they've ever had before. Yeah, I mean, they're like seeing capillaries. They're seeing detail that they're like, it's basically for them, it's like being right in there.
See, that's what you need the 8K TV for.
Exactly. There's a small problem with it.
Okay.
It's 2 kilograms and needs a tripod. This doesn't mean the patient's saddled to a 2 kilogram anchor per se. There's still the whole tube thing. But modern day endoscopes weigh like in 200 grams or so and are handheld units. So the surgeon can have it there. They're easy, portable, easy to use. So having a 2 kilogram tripod mounted thing is a bit too much for most surgeries to do, but this is purely in test phase. Hitachi is just trying it out. They're getting the medical imaging people in, as Gizmodo indicates. There's a group in that's working with them to do this. And Hitachi's thought is in about 2 years they should have it shrunk down to appropriate size. Which my reaction is, in 2 years you're going to take a 2 kilogram camera and make it down to 200 grams? Wow.
Well, maybe, maybe not. But then again, a new industry might open up for the guy that holds the camera and the operator.
I'm the Steadicam endoscope guy. No more shaky endoscope cam for you. Oh, that's yesterday's filmography. I'm so scared. Sorry.
Until certain movies come out, and then the shaky cam comes back. And
Yes.
When are we going to get the 8K ultrasound?
I was just going to say 8K shaky cam just means somebody's holding it, right? And the truck goes by behind them, you know. But yeah, I think it's a cool technology from the point of view of surgery, just in that this thing yields so much detail that the surgeons are just going, woohoo! Can't wait to use this on humans. Bend over. But that's Hitachi for you. So yeah, so both articles are really good. Virgin endoscope. Oh yes, my personal favorite. Tony Stark is suing the Air Force.
Woohoo!
Or in this case, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yes, Elon Musk is suing. Well, he's actually suing the Department of Defense technically, but essentially suing the Air Force. Boeing Lockheed Martin, there we go, has a lock with the Air Force to supply all of their launch vehicles for satellites and such. And Elon is suing on the basis of, well, I'm kind of a successful guy now, launching rockets and such, and so you should probably open up the contract so we can actually get some decent deals and save you guys some money. So he's actually trying to attack a rocket launching monopoly. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know, he might have some weight with the other group whose name I'm blanking on, who's also now supplied the ISS with one launch. And now that SpaceX has done several launches, he does have kind of a case to say, should be open bidding.
I can agree with that.
Oh, yeah, I think it. He thinks he can save them money and thinks basically that Boeing and Lockheed Martin are stiffing the government. Which, if you have the lock on it, probably you are. But because it's 30% on top of every satellite. Oh, wait. Sorry. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Side note, we do appear to have had successful return of the booster stage from the last SpaceX launch. It came down vertically. as God and Heinlein intended.
Yay!
They still did it over water, just to be safe. They were not able to recover it because the seas were too choppy. But from all the telemetry data and what the chase helicopter or whatever saw, the legs that they had attached to it did come down. It actually stabilized itself and came back down from orbit vertically and would have had a soft landing if it had been on concrete.
Sweet.
So we are a step or two closer to SpaceX realizing its dream of having a rocket return vertically to Earth like it should.
Yay!
Their attempt is similar to NASA and the shuttles, then to reuse the lower booster and try to save money that way. Economist points out we really don't know if that's ever going to save money, but we'll find out. So we'll see.
Cool.
Well, at least you don't have to keep rebuilding booster rockets.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So who wants to conquer Warhol on the Amiga?
Oh, I can talk about Warhol and the Amiga.
Since nobody can tell me what the graphics format is.
So, this week it was announced that several original pieces of Andy Warhol art have been recovered from a series of floppy disks from 1985. I think it was 27 pieces of art from the late great Andy Warhol. He used to own an Amiga 1000 personal computer, and Commodore, who made the Amiga, wanted to demonstrate the graphic arts capability of the computer, so they gave one to Warhol, and he doodled around with it for a while. And apparently he stored all these files on a bunch of system disks, you know, just overwriting the original content, and then eventually the computer was put into storage, and so were the disks. And they sat that way for 30 years or so. So the computer club at Carnegie Mellon University got hold of all this stuff, and they found the files on the floppy disks. And in fact, they even had promising names like Campbell's.pic, but they were in a file format that could no longer be recognized. So they had to basically reverse engineer the format, and eventually they got to recovering the images. So there's one of a soup can, and there's a self-portrait, and a bunch of the images have Warhol's signature on them. And they very clearly come from an Amiga computer circa 1985. But I do have a link in the show notes where you can go look and see what Andy Warhol did with an Amiga.
Sweet.
Yeah. There's a very nice article with it, too, on how they rescued the data.
See, if I may comment, this is why digital is sort of a bad thing versus like having like photographs and
it's not an archival format.
Right.
Yeah, it's you need a program to decipher your digital wares. You know, it's like we have all this stuff stored on digital. If the apocalypse happened tomorrow, how much of that are we going to actually be able to save?
Well, I mean, something large from a large company like Microsoft, you're going to be able to reverse engineer something old very quickly because there are records on, you know, how the older formats worked. But when you're talking about GraphiCraft version 27 release 06, which is the case from this Amiga, that sort of history just doesn't exist.
Right. I also did say apocalypse.
Yeah. That's true. Apocalypse changes everything.
Yeah.
Well, then IBM will be in charge.
Of course. Who's next?
Spacecraft.
Yeah, I put one in there. It was an article I saw the other day that I thought was really, really interesting. It's from NPR. 30 years ago, Robert Farquhar stole a spacecraft. And now he's trying to give it back. The thing is, he may be able to pull it off.
Oh, my.
Basically,
I'm
what
just
happened.
borrowing it.
Yeah, essentially. Now, Robert Farquhar is pretty much known as like the master of orbital mechanics. Okay, he's been able to do things like make sure plot and figure out orbits so that major milestones of like space missions happened on people's birthdays or anniversaries, just because. So back when Halley's Comet was coming through, there were several space agencies who were trying to get like their first pictures of an actual comet and analyses and things like that, and NASA wasn't going to do it because it was too expensive. Well, he noticed that this International Sun-Earth Explorer 3 was in a decent orbit. It was an orbit that he had put it into for looking at the sun. Well, he noticed it was there, and it's like, well, there's a different comet coming a little bit before this, Halley's. So he went and modified the orbit of that one to get to that comet first, and ended up beating all of the other space agencies at taking a look at a comet up close.
We got a technical difficulty.
I want to know what that was.
I think that was
Solar flare.
Yeah.
Did Paul put a circular grinder against his microphone? I can only presume that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways. There's really not much we can do until Paul gets back on that. But, no, so essentially he was able to get the satellite over there to take a look at the comet first before anyone else could get over to Halley's. And so, needless to say, some of the scientists who were actually using it were a little upset. But he was like, you know what, I just borrowed it. It'll get back there. He actually was able to set it on a course that would get it back. It's taken 31 years. And unfortunately, most of the equipment that could communicate with it has been scrapped, but they found a dish over at where was it? One of the colleges that would actually work. So he gives the chances about 50-50, but at some point, if they can get the signal properly and get it to register in I think it's like late May or early June, he will be able to put it into an orbit which will hit like the moon and Earth and boost everything back, so it goes back into its original orbit.
Wow.
Like 31 years later. He's like, I was going to give it back. I mean, so, more power to him. I hope he pulls it off, because it's just a really neat story.
There's an image that shows all the orbits of... there's an image that accompanies it as well, and it's like...
Oh, yeah, it's just...
How?
But yeah, and you can see that, if you look at that image, it's kind of like, yes, the guy is that good. He plotted this out years ahead of time. It's like, okay, we'll do this and this and this, and it'll roughly get back there in time. There's just one more little boost I have to be able to do when it gets close enough.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So are we down to peaks?
Yes.
Peaks! Who's got peaks? I don't. Actually, I gave a bunch of them at the front of the episode, so I feel like I should be exempt.
I don't remember what they were. All I remember is Nosferatu and Father Pipecock.
That wasn't the peak, but... Okay, fine. I peak short... fine. Short Term 12 and Wajda. Those are the ones you should go find and watch. So there. Ha ha ha. I already talked about them.
All right.
Mike.
All right. I have one. It's a movie. It's on Netflix. I saw it a couple weeks ago. Laughed my ass off. It's called Mortified Nation. What it is it's a documentary on this group of performances clubs, whatever you want to call them, called Mortified. Okay, which is people getting up and reading their diaries from when they were like, teenagers, 12, 13 years old. They're like, in their 30s, whatever, and reading their old diaries, just out loud to an audience. And some of these are just hilarious. Just all the wonderful teen angst that is in there sometime, or things. There was one guy who was convinced he was gonna, start a band and become famous with that and stuff, and never did. But he wrote down all his lyrics and he read some of them out to the audience. And it's funny. There was one guy that was, I don't know about convinced, but trying to be like a white guy, trying to be like a gangster rapper, and kept reading his entries, and he comes out and is like, and for some reason, I thought it was important to also put down what I was wearing and what I ate that day. So. He'll like go in and like one of the entries like doing like some sort of thug thing or whatever, and I wore a baseball cap and a blue shirt and jeans, and I ate kids cuisine. Peace, one love. And he pretty much ended every entry with peace, one love. It's just. Just talking about all this stuff, it's a really funny documentary, so I highly recommend it. Yeah, Mortified Nation.
Awesome. Fess, Shout Factory.
All right, we already said it. So, what, are you sniping me too?
No, I'm telling you to talk about Shout Factory.
Shout Factory, yeah.
All right.
Shoutfactory.com is, for those who don't know, Shout Factory is, they'll print DVDs for when nobody else will pick up for distribution, and so you usually get a lot of gems like the MST3K series, which is printed through Shout Factory, unless you just go to Netflix. But at the beginning of the show, I was talking about Reboot, the first computer-generated animated cartoon series ever, and I absolutely loved it when it was on its original channel, when it was on Cartoon Network when it came back, and the fan popularity made them create another season to it, and I was so excited about it, and then I was so happy when Shout Factory picked it up, and they have produced DVDs for the complete series, and it's absolutely wonderful and special. And I'm sort of sharing it with a friend right now who also liked Reboot a lot, but hasn't seen the last season. So we're gonna have some fun time with that, and I feel like I might have shared it as if I was a guest on here once before, but who cares? It's awesome. Shout Factory's awesome. You can find some great gems on there as well. So my peak is Shout Factory.
Yeah, in addition, Shout Factory does a lot of releases of old B movies and cult movies that otherwise aren't picked up by other studios for distribution. So Shout Factory is well thought of in those circles as well. Hooray!
Yay!
And we kind of lost Paul, so I think that's about it. Did you want to talk us out, Fess, or... shall I?
The Geek Life can be found at thegeeklife.tv. Join us every other week for now as we do a live Google Hangout and talk about news stories of the week, videos, comics, and geeky, techie news and such like that. You can email us with stories at thegeeklife.tv or talk back to us at talkback@thegeeklife.tv or leave a comment in one of our show posts. And you can call us with a voicemail at 1-612-567-6515. Leave your voicemail there. Comment on Facebook. Search for The Geek Life. Twitter at The Geek Life TV. And at Google+, The Geek Life Podcast. All these notes and more can be found at our website at thegeeklife.tv. Is that it?
Yeah. Join us in 2 weeks. I was Melissa. That was Fess. Say hi, Fess. Goodbye, Fess.
Goodbye. Bye.
And that was Mike.
Later.
And we will pretend we are waving goodbye to Paul. Bye, Paul.
Bye.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we need to tell him to hit the stop button.
I just typed at him.
Before I say something more incriminating of myself. Stop. Quit it. I'm going to say something.
I am tweeting, and now I am quitting the tweeters.
Turn it off. Shut it off.
Off.
Ball.
Cut.
Cut.
Are you even looking?